Everyone thought it was a fairy tale. America's most beloved pop icon, Taylor Swift, and NFL star Travis Kelce, two titans from two different worlds, suddenly collided in a whirlwind romance. The headlines gushed, the fans swooned, and when the first whispers of engagement surfaced, the world cheered. It looked spontaneous, organic, romantic. But what if I told you this love story wasn't born out of chance, but out of calculation? Because behind the glowing photos and playful sideline kisses lies something far more orchestrated. Insiders say this wasn't just a relationship, it was a campaign, a Hollywood-crafted power move designed with precision. Sources close to the entertainment elite suggest the engagement wasn't just about love. It was about legacy, leverage, and control. For years, Swift has navigated fame like a grandmaster chess player, her every move dissected, decoded, and adored. But her link to Kelce unlocked doors even she hadn't walked through before. The NFL machine, Middle America endorsement capital, and political alliances that run deeper than most realize. And when whispers leaked that her camp met with high-level Hollywood agents months before the relationship began, everything changed. Some believe she's being used. Others believe she's the one pulling every string. But the truth behind Taylor Swift's engagement to Travis Kelce is much darker. Before she became the mastermind behind sold-out stadiums and billion-dollar tours, Taylor Swift was just a little girl with oversized dreams and a heart too fragile for the world she was about to enter. Born on December 13, 1989 in Reading, Pennsylvania, Taylor grew up in a comfortable, upper-middle-class home. But what looked like an idyllic childhood was, in reality, filled with quiet, emotional turmoil. From a young age, Taylor felt out of place. While other kids played carefree, she buried herself in notebooks, writing poetry about heartbreak before she even understood it. She was bullied at school, called weird, dramatic, too sensitive. Her tall frame and quirky obsession with country music made her an outsider. By age 11, she had already developed an intense fear of rejection. But instead of breaking her, it ignited her. She began performing at local fairs, talent shows, and karaoke nights, chasing applause like it was oxygen. Her mother, Andrea Swift, became her fiercest ally, relentlessly driving her to auditions, sending demo tapes, and pushing through rejection letters. But behind Andrea's protective smile was a silent storm. She had seen what fame could do to young girls in Hollywood. She knew the cost, and still, they chased it. By age 14, Taylor convinced her parents to relocate to Nashville, risking everything. While other teens were worried about prom, Taylor was knocking on doors down Music Row, armed only with her guitar and songs that felt far too deep for someone her age. But there was something in her voice, an ache, a yearning, that made people stop. Her lyrics weren't just catchy, they were confessions. She wasn't trying to be famous. She was trying to be understood. That longing for validation, for control over her own narrative, would follow her into adulthood. And it would define the way she built her empire. Because Taylor Swift wasn't just born into fame, she constructed it, brick by painful brick. Taylor's big break didn't come through luck. It came through relentless strategy, sleepless nights, and a deep understanding that if she didn't control her story, someone else would. At just 14, she landed a development deal with RCA Records. But when they wanted her to sing songs written by others, Taylor walked away. Most teens would have been crushed. She was just getting started. She partnered with a tiny, unknown label, Big Machine Records, on one condition. She would write her own songs. All of them. Then came Tim McGraw, a debut single about a teenage summer romance, written with emotional depth far beyond her years. Country radio didn't know what to make of her. A blonde, blue-eyed teenage girl with a guitar, singing about heartbreak with surgical precision. But America fell in love, and so did the charts. Her debut album went multi-platinum. Then came Fearless, Speak Now, Red. Each record wasn't just an album, it was a chapter of her life, raw and unfiltered. With each tour, she grew bolder. With each heartbreak, she turned pain into poetry. But behind the glittering stages and Grammy speeches, there were fractures forming. Industry insiders whispered that Taylor was too controlling, too calculated, too good at making herself the victim. Critics mocked her for writing about exes, ignoring the fact that male artists did the same without scrutiny. Still, she climbed. Every insult, every backlash became another lyric, another lesson. Then came 1989, her full pivot to pop. Many thought she'd lose her identity. Instead, she dominated. Shake It Off, Blank Space, Style. These weren't just hits. They were anthems of reinvention. Taylor Swift had outgrown country, and she had outgrown their rules. She was no longer just an artist. She was a brand, a businesswoman, a movement. But success at that level doesn't come without enemies. And behind the bright lights and polished image, forces were already gathering to take her down. She had climbed too fast, and Hollywood never forgets. At the peak of her fame, Taylor Swift was everywhere, on screens, on playlists, on stage. But what fans didn't see was the psychological toll of carrying that much power in a world built to tear women like her down. The turning point came in 2016. It started with a phone call. Kanye West released Famous, including the now infamous line, "I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex." Swift's camp denied approving the lyrics. Kim Kardashian countered with a secretly recorded phone call. The internet exploded. Overnight, Taylor went from feminist icon to snake. Twitter hashtags branded her a liar. Memes mocked her. Friends disappeared. And then she vanished. For nearly a year, Taylor Swift disappeared from the public eye. No concerts, no interviews, no paparazzi shots. She was silent, erased. Behind closed doors, she was battling panic attacks. Rumors swirled about therapy, sleepless nights, and breakdowns. Her closest friends would later say she felt hunted, like the industry that once praised her now wanted her gone. But what terrified her most wasn't the betrayal. It was realizing she had no control anymore. That's when everything changed. She returned with Reputation, a sharp, dark album born from anger, survival, and calculation. Gone was the sweet, heartbroken girl. In her place stood a woman armed with irony and venom. Look What You Made Me Do wasn't a song, it was a warning. But even as she reclaimed her voice, the walls kept closing in. Every move was analyzed, her relationships picked apart. Was she dating for love or image? Was her girl squad empowering or exclusionary? Was she a feminist or just branding it? And then came the Kelce connection. To some, it felt random. A pop star and a football player? But insiders say it was anything but. According to two Hollywood publicists, meetings between Swift's team and elite media consultants started long before the relationship went public. The goal? Expand her influence, shift her base, position her not just as a pop icon, but a future cultural gatekeeper. But tapping into America's most powerful institution, the NFL, meant letting go of some control. And whether Taylor knew it or not, she was stepping into a world with its own playbook. A world where fame isn't given, it's bought, negotiated, designed. And what started as a romance became something much more dangerous. On the outside, everything seemed perfect. Taylor Swift was more famous than ever. Her Eras tour shattered global records. Her relationship with Travis Kelce lit up tabloids, game broadcasts, even presidential debates. She had bridged the gap between music and sport, red states and blue states, stadiums and voting booths. But behind the smile, something had shifted. Friends say Taylor became distant, distracted, obsessed with keeping the story going. It wasn't about love anymore. It was about optics, alignment, timing. Every appearance with Kelce was scheduled. Every outfit approved. Every conversation between their teams ran through layers of PR, branding, and political advisors. Because now the stakes were higher than ever. She wasn't just shaping her image. She was shaping influence over culture, youth, even power structures. Behind closed doors, conversations had started. Could she run for office one day? Could she sway elections? Could she become more than a pop star? But the more power she accumulated, the more isolated she became. Her father, once her business partner, began to pull back. Close friends left her circle quietly. And then came the moment that broke everything, the leaked strategy memo. In early 2025, a confidential document was leaked from a PR firm connected to both Swift and the NFL. The memo outlined a coordinated image expansion plan, pairing Taylor with athletes, military figures, and political donors. The word engagement was highlighted twice. The public turned fast. Was it all fake? Was this romance just a pawn in a larger game? Suddenly, trust shattered. Her fans, once fiercely loyal, started to question the narrative. Online threads exploded. Old interviews were dissected. People began asking, who is Taylor Swift really? Worse yet, those in power began to worry. Because if she had used the system to rise, maybe Taylor Swift never wanted power. Maybe all she ever wanted was a voice, loud enough to be heard, strong enough to be respected. But in Hollywood, wanting to be understood comes at a cost. And when you finally get power, they don't let you hold it for long. Those who knew her best say she was a paradox, brilliant but vulnerable, strategic but deeply emotional, a girl who turned diary pages into Grammy-winning anthems, a woman who turned heartbreak into cultural currency. And yet, she was always alone at the top. What Taylor Swift built was more than music. She engineered a connection so intimate that millions felt she was singing only to them. But in doing so, she gave pieces of herself away until nothing was left but a brand. Maybe we never really knew her. Maybe no one did. Because the girl who wrote songs in her bedroom became a blueprint, a warning, a weapon. And in the end, she didn't just change the industry. She exposed it. She was never just writing about her exes. She was writing about us.